Good day, this is Sir J once again, and I'm gonna teach you now about finding the center and the radius of a circle given the equation and vice versa. Okay, here's our objectives. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to number 1, illustrate on how to find center and the radius of the equation of a circle, and finding the center and the radius of the equation and graph of a circle. Finding the center and the radius of a circle given the equation. The center and the radius of a circle can be found given the equation. To do this, transform the given equation to its standard form. That is, quantity of x minus h squared plus quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared, if the center of the circle is hk, or x squared plus y squared equals r squared if the center of the circle is the origin. Once the center and the radius of the circle are found, its graph can be shown on the coordinate plane. Okay, so for our examples, example number 1, find the center and the radius of the circle x squared plus y squared equals 16. Then draw the graph. Okay, so first, write the x group, y group, and constant as perfect squares. Then ensure that the values of h and k are subtracted from x and y respectively. Okay, so that will become, yung given, isulat muna natin yung given, x squared plus y squared equals 16. Okay, then write it in the form of quantity of x minus h squared plus quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared. And then, identify the values of h and k of the center of the circle and r for the radius. Okay? So, we write it in the form of quantity of x minus h squared plus quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared. So, yung h natin, papalitan siya natin ng 0. Then, yung k, papalitan din natin ng 0. Okay? Then, the radius is, gagawin natin siyang perfect square. So, that is 4. Then, identify sa step 2 natin, class, identify the coordinates of a center and the radius of the circle. Okay? So, since dito kasi class, ang center nito is the origin, kaya 0, 0 yung ating h at saka k dyan. Okay? Then, sa step 2 naman, identify na natin yung kanyang coordinates of a center and the radius of the circle. Okay? So, the center of a circle is 0, 0, or the origin, and the radius is 4 units. Okay, now in step 3, draw the graph in the coordinate plane. Okay, so let's draw the graph. The graph will look like this. Ayan. Okay, so saan yung center ng ating graph, class? Nandito yung center ng ating graph. Ito. That is 0, 0. Yan yung ating origin. 0, 0. Okay? And then, ang kanyang radius ay 4 units. So, this is example. Ito ay 1. Ito. 1, 2, then 3, tapos 4. Okay, so from the origin, magka-count ka lang ng 4 units para makuha mo yung radius niya. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then 4 naman papunta sa baba. So, 1, count another 4 units below. So, negative 1, then negative 2, then negative 3. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, the same also dito sa ating right, dito sa ating x-axis. So, count ka lang din ng 4 units. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, then 4. Then, 4 units naman to the left ng ating x-axis. So, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, then negative 4. Okay, so 4 units lang. Dito sa taas, sa baba, sa kanan, at sa kaliwa. Okay, then use the Then in making a graph, make sure that the center and the radius of the circle is properly plotted, okay, in the coordinate plane. And you can use compass to draw the circle. Okay? Now, let's proceed to example number 2. Okay, so in example number 2, determine the center and the radius of the circle given the quantity of x plus 4 squared plus quantity of y minus 2 squared equals 9, and draw its graph. Okay, so step 1. Okay, step 1, write the x group, y group, and constant as perfect squares. Then ensure that the values of h and k are subtracted from x and y respectively. Okay, so since yung ating given ay naka-write na siya in the form of quantity of x minus h squared plus quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared, kokopyahin na lang natin yan. Okay, so yan yung ating given. And then identify the values of h and k of the center of the circle and r for the radius. Okay, ayan. So, simplify that one. Yan ay magiging quantity of x minus, finactor out natin yung negative 4. I-factor out mo lang yung negative dyan. So, itong x plus 4 class, pag finactor out mo yung negative, kasi kailangan, di ba, in the form of x minus. Okay, so i-factor out natin yung negative dyan. So, yan ay magiging quantity of x minus negative 4 squared plus quantity of y minus positive 2 squared equals 3 squared. Yung 9 natin, ang kanyang perfect square ay 3 squared. Okay? And then, proceed to step 2. Identify now the coordinates of a center and the radius of the circle. Okay, so the center of a circle here is, okay, the center of a circle is negative 4, 2. Okay, kaya natin finactor out dito sa step 1 class yung negative para mas madali natin ma-identify yung center. Kasi kapag sinabi mo yung center mo ay 4, positive 4 at saka negative 2, it's wrong. Mali yun. Okay, so kailangan i-factor out mo siya para maging, ang kanyang forma dapat kasi ay ganito, x minus h. Okay, quantity of x minus h squared. Okay, erase ko lang to ha kasi parang masakit sa mata yung kulay pula dito. Okay, palitan ko ng kulay puti. Okay, kasi ang kanyang forma dapat ay x minus h squared. Ayan. Plus quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared. Ayan. Kaya kinuha natin yung perfect square nilang lahat. Then sa example number 2 naman, na nasa form na siya na ganito, yan, nasa form na siya na ganyan. So, ang gagawin na lang natin, itong positive 4 na yan, kasi plus 4 yan, ifa-factor out natin yung negative. Okay, so yan ay magiging x minus negative 4. Okay? Kasi the same lang naman to sila kapag sinimplify mo. So, x minus, quantity of x minus negative 4 squared. Plus, ito naman, nilagyan natin ng parenthesis yung 2 to indicate that itong 2 natin, itong ating k, ito yung h, yung ating k ay positive number. Then, yung perfect square ng 9 ay 3 squared. Okay? So, sa step 2, identify na natin yung center. That is negative 4, 2. And the radius is 3 units. Okay, so let's proceed to step 3. Draw the graph in the coordinate plane. Okay, so let's draw the graph. Okay, so the graph is, look, ganito ang forma ng ating graph. Ayan. Okay, so ang kanyang center ay negative 4, 2. Palitan ko yung aking pen. Negative 4, 2. Okay, so negative 4 yung ating x. So 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. And then ang ating y ay positive 2. So dito yung center ng ating circle. Okay, dito yung negative 4 at 2. Then identify the radius. Ang radius ay 3 units. So from the center, magbilang ka lang ng 3 units pataas. From the center, 1, 2, 3. Ayan. Then 3 units papunta naman sa baba. 1, 2, 3. Then 3 units papunta sa kanan, 1, 2, 3. At 3 units papunta sa kaliwa from the origin. Then you can use the compass. Ayan, pwede kang gumamit ng compass para i-draw yung ating circle. Okay, ayan. So, in this one, properly plotted na yung ating center at yung ating radius dito sa ating coordinate plane. So, you can draw na the circle using compass. Okay? Now, let's proceed to example number 3. Find the center and the radius of the circle x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 10y plus 18 equals 0 and show the graph. Okay, step 1, group the x and y terms on the left-hand side of the equation. Okay, so here's our given. X squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 10y plus 18 equals 0. And we will write it, we will group the x, i-group natin yung x group at saka yung ating y group. Okay, so that will become quantity of x squared minus 6x, ayan, ginrupo natin yung ating x group, plus quantity of y squared minus 10y, tapos yung y group naman, plus 18 equals 0. Okay, class? So in order to properly create the squared terms, the coefficient of the x squared and the y squared must be 1. Ayan, dito naman class, ang coefficient ng ating x squared at y squared ay 1 naman na, kaya wala na tayong problema dyan. Okay, now let's move to step 2. Okay, step 2, move the constant term to the right-hand side. Ayan, be careful lang ha of the sign of constant term in moving to the left-hand side. Be careful lang. Ayan ha, so yung ating positive 18, minove natin siya doon sa left-hand side ng ating equation, kaya yan naging negative 18 nung nilipat na natin siya dito sa left-hand side. Next, step 3. Okay, complete the square for the x and y groups. So kagaya ng ginawa natin doon sa ating pinakaunang yung topic bago nito, okay, di ba ganito yung ating ginawa? Kasi yung ating equation dito sa example number 3 ay naka-general equation or naka-general form. Kaya kailangan gawin muna natin siyang a standard equation or standard form para madali na lang hanapin yung center at saka yung radius. Okay? So step 3, complete the square for x and y group. Ayan, so x squared minus 6x, unahin natin yung x group. Okay, so, di ba kapag kukumpletuhin na natin siya, complete the square for the x group, okay, take the coefficient of the x term, then divide by 2 and square the result. Okay? Okay, so let's proceed. Ayan. So, ano yung coefficient ng ating x? That is negative 6. The negative 6 divided, quantity of negative 6 divided by 2 squared. Then, i-divide mo muna yan. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Then, negative 3 squared is equal to 9. Okay? Then, i-add natin yung result doon sa ating x group. Add the result to the x group. Okay? So, that will become x squared minus 6x plus 9. Then, next is, dito naman tayo sa ating y group. Ayan. So, sa quantity of y squared minus 10y. Okay? So, ano yung coefficient ng ating y? The coefficient of our y is negative 10. Okay? So, take the coefficient of the y term, then divide by 2 and square the result. Just like what we did doon sa x group. So, yung coefficient ng y ay negative 10, quantity of negative 10 divided by 2 squared. Unahin muna natin yung divide. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5 squared. Then negative 5 squared is equal to 25. Then add the result to the y group. So that will become y squared minus 10y plus 25. Okay, then step 4. Add whatever was added to the left-hand side to the right-hand side. Ayan, so i-add na natin, i-combine na natin lahat. Ayan, so x squared, yung ating x group plus yung ating y group equals negative 18 plus 9 plus 25. Since nag-add tayo ng 9 at saka ng 25 dito sa ating x group at y group, mag-a-add ka rin dito sa right-hand side ng ating equation ng plus 9 at plus 25 in order para maging balance itong ating equation. Okay? The next is simplify. So, i-add natin itong negative 18 plus 9 plus 25 and that will become positive 16. So, the equation now is quantity of x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus quantity of y squared minus 10y plus 25 equals 16. Then, gagawin natin siyang perfect square lahat. Okay? And then, gagawin natin perfect square ito. So, write it in the form of, quantity of x minus h squared plus quantity of y minus k squared equals r squared. And then, identify the values of h and k of the center of the circle and r for the radius. Okay? So, step 5, write the x group, y group, and constant as perfect square. Then ensure that the values of h and k are subtracted from x and y respectively. So, ito na siya. Ito na ang perfect square ng ating x group. Ang perfect square niya ay quantity of x minus 3 squared. Then, yung perfect square naman ng ating y group ay quantity of y minus 5 squared. Then, yung perfect square ng ating 16 ay 4 squared. Okay? So, kagaya ng sinabi ko doon sa ating previous lesson, tingnan mo lang yung first term at saka last term niya. So, ano ba yung factors ni 9 na kapag in-add mo, ang sagot ay negative 6. So, the factors of 9 na kapag in-add mo, yung factors ni 9 na kapag in-add mo, ang sagot ay negative 6 ay negative 3 times negative 3. Diba? Ito yung sa example natin doon sa last topic natin, diba? So, that is negative 6. Ganon din dito sa y group. Yung 25 naman natin, that is negative 5 times negative 5. At kapag in-add mo yan, ang sagot ay negative 10. Okay? So, therefore, the factors of the x group is quantity of x minus 3 squared. So, yan na yung kanyang perfect square. Plus, quantity sa ating y group naman, y minus 5 squared equals 4 squared. The next is, ayan, nilagyan ko dito ng parenthesis itong 3 at saka itong 5 to indicate that itong ating h at itong ating k ay positive. Okay? So that is the final answer. Then, identify the coordinates of center and the radius of a circle. So ito na yung ating equation, class. So identify na natin yung center at yung radius. So yung center natin ay positive 3 at positive 5. At ang kanyang radius naman ay 4. Okay, ang radius ay 4. 4 ang radius. Okay, next. Yung ating graph naman dito, class. Okay, so yung graph ng ating equation kanina. Yung center ay 3, 5. Yung radius ay 4 units. So the graph ay ganito ang kanyang forma. Ayan. So ang kanyang center ay 3. Magbilang ka lang ng 3. Positive yung 3 natin dito. Okay, positive yung 3 sa x. So 1, 2, 3. Ito yung 3 natin. And then, magbilang ka ngayon ng 4 units, ng 5 units papunta dito sa ating y. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ito. Okay, so dito yung center ng ating circle. That is 3, 5. Okay, so 3, 5. Ayan, tapos para mahanap mo yung radius niya ay 4. So from the center ng ating circle, magbibilang ka lang ng 4 units from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4 sa taas, then 4 units din sa baba. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units din dito sa kanan. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 units din papunta sa kaliwa. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ayan. So, identified mo na yung center pati yung radius. Now, you can draw the circle using the compass. Okay? And then, after that, let's proceed now. Okay, so for your evaluation, letter A, identify the center and radius of each equation, then sketch the graph. Ayan, madali na lang. Naka-standard form na yung ating given. So, madali na lang hanapin ang kanyang center at ang kanyang radius. And then, sa letter B, solve the problem, find the coordinates of the center and the length of the radius of x squared plus y squared minus 10x plus 2y plus 6 equals 0. So sa letter B, kailangan gawin mo muna siyang standard form para mahanap mo ang kanyang center at ang radius. Okay, so that's all for this day. Thank you for listening sa uulitin ulit and to our next lesson. Okay, thank you and goodbye.